Good afternoon and welcome to Training Tuesday, back in Southampton. So coming to you live here from Southampton. Today we're looking at QStack variables and what we can do with those. As often, it is a completely live session, so do ask questions. I'm monitoring the chat here on YouTube and Facebook. Good to see the usual faces here and good to see someone I haven't seen for a while. Badru, it's been a while. Good to hear from you. You're in UAE at the moment. Yes, good to hear from you, Badru, and good to have the usual people here. Tommy, Mario and others, good to have you with us. So here we go. Let's dive in. So today, as I said, we're looking at QStack variables and counters. So if we jump into Magic Q on my PC here, I'm just running the standard Chauvet demo show as usual. And what am I talking about here? Well, for a little while now, every playback we record how many times it's been activated and for how long it's been activated for. This is saved in your show file. So if I go to my playback one here and I triple press my select button, 1, 2, 3, and go to the QStack options, if I go to the activate release tab here, there's 4 boxes at the bottom here, which one is my active count, and that literally counts how many times the playback has been active. Then I have an active time, which gives me the total time that playback has been running for. It's a cumulative time, and it's related to the show file. So if I was to save my show, and I'm going to call this Training Tuesday, so there's my show, it's saved Training Tuesday, and I start a new show file off. And of course, in the new show file, if I go and record something onto playback 1, everything's going to start at 0. If I go back and I reload my Training Tuesday file that I just saved here, so I go back to Training Tuesday here, and I go and look at it, you can see that time, the number of times it was activated here, and the the total time it's been active for is saved in the show. So it doesn't matter if I save this show and go and load it onto another console, the number of times it's been active per stack and the total time, they travel with the show file. Of course, you can reset these, so you may decide actually after each show you want to zero those out. So I can just enter a 0 on those, and the total active time, I can zero that out as well. So maybe I want to reset it on each show. So what are some use cases for these timers? We also have variables here. So you've got variable 1 and 2, and you can see I've set, these are number variables, and you can set those to anything you like. So I could set, say, variable 2 to a number 10. Now I'll come on to looking at how we can actually use that variable number a bit later on. So I've set variable 2 to number 10. You can see I've reset my active count and active time. Now, it could be useful for seeing, okay, if I've got something like CO2 that I'm running for my playback, I know I've got, say, 30 seconds of CO2 in the bottle or something. I can see how long I've run it for, give me an idea of how much is left. Now, clearly I don't want to be having to have, reset those back out, I don't want to have the QStack window open in this view all the time. I'm going to be in things like my groups and palettes view or my execute window, looking at palettes, groups, whatever times here, and I don't want to have to keep going and opening this window to see this information. So what you can do in the execute window is you can add this information here. So I've just got myself a blank grid here under assign special. Under playback and QStack, you can add in views for these times. So I can add in, okay, a playback active count for playback number 1. I can add in playback and QStack, a playback total active time for playback number 1. And now you can see that when I bring the playback up, that clock starts and the count goes up from there. So I can have those views directly in the execute window. Of course, I can mix those in an execute screen which has got groups and palettes, etc. there, all in one nice space there. What else can I do with variables? Well, if you remember back on this window here, I added variable 2 as a number 10. Well, I can use these variables to give me things like countdowns. Okay, going back to that first scenario where maybe I want to count how much CO2 I'm using or how much something's been active. I know I can run this for 30 seconds and that's it. Well, here is where I can go assign special, and I can go playback and QStack. And rather than just doing the total active times, I can use things like playback variable 2 minus total active count. So it can compare the variable number and subtract from it. So variable 2 I set as 10 minus total active count on playback number 1. Well, okay, I set the variable as 10. So of course it's been active 3 times, it's got 7 shots left at it. Maybe actually I want to use that number as 10 seconds. Well, I've been active for 3 seconds, so I can go playback and QStack, and this time I could say playback variable 2 minus total active time, and put it for playback 1, and you can see 7 seconds there. Now if I view the execute window, okay, these will view as boxes that will update, but I can't really differentiate what's going on here. So what you can do is you can change these special items rather than just viewing as boxes. I can change the item type here, and I can set them as pie charts, and now they actually give me time sort of pie charts. So you can see this one here is giving me a countdown box in the chart, or as I keep activating and releasing, you can see the pie chart runs away and tells me, okay, I've used all of that time now, I've used 80%, if I'm running the number of times I can run that, and then it's all used up there. And you can see the numbers above here. And of course, if I want to reset, I can just come back in here and I can zero those back out again and then reset my timers here. You can also do things like locking playbacks with variables. So if I wanted to, I could say, actually, well, maybe the support act, I only want them to be able to use the blinders or something for so many times. And then I'm going to say stop using them. Don't go nuts with the lights before a headline act comes on. So I could say actually lock out after a certain time number of active, and I can do that in the macro window in automations. Let me just remove this automation here. I'm going to insert a new automation, and I'm going to set the status to enabled, and I'm going to set the type to variable, and then I'm going to pick my QStack. So it's going to be QStack number 1. In fact, no, it's not QStack 1, it's playback 1, but you can see at the top here that's QStack number 2. So I'm going to set that to variable on QStack 2, and then I set which I'm looking at, and I could say actually I want to look at maybe the total active time. So I can say when the total active time is equal to, or greater than equal to, or less than, or whatever. I've got all the different options here, so I can say if it's greater than a value, so I could say greater than 10 seconds, do a function. And it can do any automation function. It could be running another playback, changing a page or something. But what I'm going to use here is to disable stack option here, stack disable, and then pick the QStack. It's QStack number 2. So I've now said if on QStack 2 the active timer is greater than a value of 10 seconds, disable this playback. So you can see it's running at 0 at the moment. If this time gets over 10 seconds, disable it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it's disabled. And you can see it now tells me here the stack has been disabled. I can no longer run this QStack anymore. It's been locked. So I've overused the blinders and it's now been locked off. Now, how do I get it back again? Well, first off, I'm going to need to reset my time, because as soon as it goes over 10 seconds, it's going to lock it off. But I need to enable the QStack again. So if I go to my stack store window here, there's an enable QStack button there, so I can hit enable, select my QStack, so cursor on it, you can see it says dis for disabled in the top right, cursor on it, enable QStack, yes, it's now re-enabled, and I can run that QStack again. Again, it's going to be up to about 10 seconds, and then it's going to lock itself out again and stop running. So there you go. That's what I can do with some automations. Just coming back to my execute window, if I go back to the design view here, assign special, playback and QStack. You can use variable 1 as well, so I used variable 2 here and did a minus from that. And if you don't want to use the playback, you can do it off a QStack. So you can see I did it off a playback, referencing playback 1. You can do it off the QStack, which is obviously the QStack number in the stack store. So if I go to playback 1 here, you can see that was QStack number 2. So there you go. There's variables and sort of conditional type programming, will allow me to enable, disable things depending on the number of times that thing has run. So that's been our Training Tuesday today. Do watch this space. We've got some new features coming very soon. In fact, we're having a new release will come soon, which support our touchscreen products over the next week. And of course, ISE show in Barcelona is only a couple of weeks away, so we will have some new software to show you there. So watch this space. That's been Training Tuesday for today, and see you next time.